Hi everyone, Ray from Pro String London again with another racket restringing tutorial. Today's tutorial will be on a Yonex tennis racket. I have done this one in a previous video, but a different year, different model, let's say. Packaging is not opening as smoothly as I wanted it to. Anyway, so client has provided a multi-filament string. It's the Yonex Tour Super 850 Pro. I don't remember stringing with this string, perhaps ever. I have strung with the other Yonex. I can't remember the name of it now. Is it the Rex or Rex something? Don't quote me on that, but they have another multi-filament string out there. It's very uncommon. I don't see it often either. Our best seller is the Pro String Pure Multi-Filament, which we produce actually ourselves in Austria. And if you guys can see, this is how to unravel a set of string to make your life as easy as possible, instead of just dropping it all to the floor and then unraveling it, which you'll lose 5, maybe even more, 10 minutes. But anyway, Yonex Tennis racket is the Ezone. It's the Ezone 1. Come on, give me some information. Yonex Ezone. That is gonna annoy the crap out of me. Come on, it's not just the Ezone. Is it the 100? Ezone 100? No, it's 98 square inch. So it's just the Ezone 98, guys. I couldn't see the 98, it was hiding underneath the frame. So the Ezone 98 square inch. 305, I guess. It's not telling me the weight either. Okay, stringy pattern 16 by 19. Really not going to tell me the weight. No. Just Google it, guys, if you really want to know how much this racket weighs. Obviously irrelevant, the weight of the racket, to how it's going to be strung. But anyway, there you have it. Yonex Ezone 98. Simple as that. So find yourself the middle. You've got 16 mains on this racket by 19 crosses. Very common stringing pattern in the tennis world. Don't tighten the racket very hard on your mounting system. Give it some space, as you can see. Maybe not from that angle, but from this angle. Just with my thumb and my index finger, I'm able to move it. Not looser than that, not tighter than that, because you may struggle to take your racket off the machine afterwards. Right, moving forward, I've cut myself a nice sharp edge. Make my life easier, trying to always make things as simple and easy as possible. Small details do count in this industry. So we're going to start from the bottom, because we have 8 holes, and the only way to start this racket is from the bottom. We are going to do a 4 knots, 2-piece stringing job. So all I'm going to do now is measure my mains, my vertical strings. So we've got 2 in the middle, that's 1 to each side, it's 8 to each side, so 8 minus 1 is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you have it. Leave yourself a little piece here. So this string, my feeling is going to be quite stretchy. So, but anyway, in any case, there you have it. Just run the strings through your hand, thumb, index finger, however you want to do that, and find yourself the side that you measured with. No need to start walking away and pulling the string. I don't have the space for that anyway. But you might see other people measuring slightly differently. That works well for me, and a lot of people, I find. So there you have it. We have our mains ready to go. Client has requested 55 pounds of tension, which is exactly 55 pounds of tension is exactly 25 kilos to the 0.0. As you saw, and if you didn't, I held my clamp upwards, keep it in line with the racket. I'm just doing a little experiment. My dear friend Richard Parnell, yes, believe it or not, Mr. Parnell himself has come across some of my videos and has let me know that small tip. So I would normally, I'm waiting for a reply, but I'm pretty sure this is the way. So you have a little gap that that creates. So even if it's touching, even if your 6 o'clock fixture is touching when you start, which it probably should be, just lightly touching, no extra pressure to be applied. There should be a gap that opens up, but according to him, leave that as it is, and he's always right as usual. So there you have it. The racket has come back to its ideal shape, I guess you could say. So hopefully he stumbles across this video now and then gives me the thumbs up. But I'll definitely keep that in mind from now on, seeing that I always just moved or got rid of the gap. But it kind of makes sense that I have been, I guess, making the frames. I mean, it's probably talking about maybe 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters. I'd imagine something, or maybe half a centimeter at the very most. I can't see it being much more than that. I could be wrong, but now I know that. So these the videos in itself are being helpful to myself. Hopefully to you guys as well. I'm learning. Hopefully you guys learn my good how do you say, my good points or pointers or advice, and hopefully there's not many bad ones where I can, there's always space to improve, right? Always, doesn't matter. But anyway, as you saw, 3 to each side, stringing symmetrically always, compensating the tension to each side of the racket. Don't string 8 to one side, or of course if it's 18-20, don't do 9 to one side. You're really going to put a lot of pressure on one side of the racket without putting any pressure on the other, and that could be very bad for the racket. But nonetheless, I now have 6 to this side. I did 3, and then another 3 on that side. That's why I have 6. And now we're going to do our other 3, which will be 4, 5, and 6 to be exact. I'm in London, UK, where the rain is falling thick and fast. It's like they turned the water tap on. It's just, or the shower, it's just has not stopped. It's been raining all night, all morning. Not good for us outdoor tennis players, I'll tell you that much. Unfortunately, there are indoor courts, of course, in London, but not all that many, believe it or not. I can count it probably. You've got 6 in Westway, in case you are planning to come to London or living in London. You've got 7 indoor courts. Used to be 8. They changed 1 court for a gym. Coincidentally, I guess it makes more money. It's all about money. Unfortunately, you've got, well, Virgin Active Riverside. So if we're talking about just pay and play system, then you've got what is it, 8 courts or 6? You've got 6 courts in Islington, indoor courts from Better, the Better.org foundation, and then you've got 5 at Duke's Meadows. Actually, this racket is from Duke's Meadows. I string for the club. They outsource to myself. Guys, I put the tension up on my last string. Sorry, I got carried away with what I was talking about. So you've got 5 brand new indoor courts at Duke's Meadows, 6 in Islington, 7 at Westway, so that puts us at what? So 7 and 6, 13 plus 5, 18. That's 18 pay and play that I can think of, and I think there's a few other ones scattered around, but much smaller clubs. Tension up, guys, 15 to 20% on your last main string before tying your finishing knot. As always, our Parnell knot. Down, around, and through. Down, around, and back in. Don't pull too hard on the string, it's unnecessary. Beautiful. This multi-filament string feels okay. I think it's very similar to Wilson Sensation, perhaps. What is this called again? The Tour Super 850 Pro. Okay. Right, anyway. Our crosses now. 7.5 lengths of the racket. 3, 4, 5. What do we have here? Oh dear. All right. I'll have to do that again. Small knot there. fine. 7.5 full lengths of the racket. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. Parnell knot as well. I use the Parnell knot for all my knots, whether it's a finishing knot or a starting knot. Just a reminder, guys, you do not need doesn't matter what side we start on this racket, by the way. I always like to check the grommets to make sure. A lot of rackets don't tell us where to start, but sometimes it's quite obvious and necessary to start your crosses on a certain side. So remember, you do not need to up the tension on a starting knot, but on a finishing knot, always, because you lose a lot of tension. However, it's the opposite with the starting knot. You don't lose tension, as when you pull that first string, as you can see, my finishing knot is nice and tight, and this one obviously is probably still a bit bigger. I don't know if you can tell in the video, but you can see that it'll tighten up a little bit, and that's what the starting knot, that's why you don't need to up the tension on your starting knot. Completely unnecessary. And be careful with it as well, I would say. If you are going to put more tension on your first one, like I said, it's not necessary. You shouldn't. You do risk the knot breaking or popping out, so just be careful with that. If you're going to start adding 15-20% to your starting knots, again, don't do it anyway. Unnecessary. It's got a true tension to it. Nonetheless, here we go. Stringing one in front, guys. What does that mean? It means I am always weaving a second string. I may have one already in there, as you can see, but I'm going to weave another because it is easier to weave the string. If you're just doing one at a time and then pulling the string and then weaving one, it makes it more difficult, believe it or not. So as you'd imagine, there's less tension, right? As soon as I pull that, you've got more in the next one, and so on and so on. So that's why one ahead or one in front. So you're trying to take advantage of less tension before you make your next pull. So now there's more tension. As we add each string, or as we pull each string, it adds more and more tension throughout the racket. Got rid of the excess string on my knot. As you can see, one hand above, one hand underneath the strings, holding the string from the edge and weaving it through. So some stringers have a preferred way of weaving. They'll pull some string out and then they'll do this, which I'm no pro at that. Ugh. I don't know how they do it, quite frankly. Something like that, just to give you an example. They go like this, and that's how they prefer to weave their strings. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's also all about habit. As everything we do in life, if you do something enough times, it becomes a habit, and then it's second nature, right? Just like playing tennis. If you hit enough tennis balls, you get better and better, and it becomes a habit, and it becomes more automatic. And you don't need to think about it, just like I did that. the amount of rain is just, my street is starting to get a bit flooded. Anyway, it is what it is, I guess. Choice, right? All choices we have in life. I grew up in Marbella, one of the most beautiful places in the world. They have the opposite problem. There's no water. There's not enough rain. They're threatened now 2 or 3 times the water. The main water company in Marbella have threatened to turn our water down at night 50%. But I think because it's such a mountainous kind of area down south where it's beach and then pretty much straight up to mountain, they're worried that the pressure may not be enough pressure to make it up to the mountain if they turn everything down to 50%. I guess it's all connected to the same source. So they keep threatening to turn our water off or turn it down to 50% at night. Don't fill your pools. They're now finding people supposedly if you're filling up your pool in the winter. I believe it has rained recently quite a bit, a few days here or there, but still obviously not enough to make up for the dryness. But it has probably filled up people's pools at least, bonus. So I think there's a lot of people worried about what's going to happen this summer. I don't, being such a touristic area, I don't think they'll do that to the economy, down south at least. They need to keep it. But I mean, look, if they were to close swimming pools or whatever it might be, who cares? You got the beach. Stay away from all that shitty chlorine. God. Okay, I say that, but then I have kids and pool. It makes life much easier. I do have a villa without trying to make myself something I'm not or anybody. I'm going to lock my base because there was a bit of a crash there with I don't like when the string's being pulled. I don't like it touching my fixtures. But yes, having the pool in Spain, which we do in our private villa in Riviera del Sol to be exact, in Mijas Costa, near Marbella, it's very useful just to pop into your pool. And even if it's a community pool, I always grew up with a community pool in Spain at least. Never had our own private pool until I was until a few years ago. But anyway, that's what these videos are not about. I'm not talking about myself, but I do like to talk, so sometimes I go off the rails a little bit, which is completely fine, I guess. It does get pretty boring by myself in here a lot of the time, just stringing. But anyway, I'll survive, I hope. Looking forward to going to Spain on the 28th, almost 3 weeks holiday. Well, holiday. That's not the downfall or anything like that, but I still carry on working. I do all the invoicing. I do up your tension on the last cross string, guys, 15-20% as always. I carry on working when I'm in Spain. I have the stringers doing their thing here on the ground, and I take all the calls, I do all the invoices, and the guys can just focus on picking up the rackets, getting them strung, and dropping them back off as quickly as possible. So all the school holidays, Easter, Christmas, summers, 4, 5, 6 weeks I spend in Spain. When you have a stringing business, it's actually, unless you're having thousands of rackets, which is probably unlikely, at least, I'm talking monthly, it becomes a bit tricky if you're paying your stringers well, if they do a good job. It becomes a lot less profitable. So I wouldn't say I lose money, but after all my expenses and all my receptions and all the overheads that I have, etc., it does make it a lot less worthwhile. I'm working hours and hours of answering the phone, talking to people, giving them advice, and so on throughout the summers or Easter or whatever. But I mean, at the same time, it's great to spend time with the kids, so money can't buy that, but maybe it can, I guess. Paying my stringers and stuff to take care of the business, maybe that is buying it. But the kids are only small once, and I'll never get that back. So for those of you out there that work as hard as I do or harder, spend time with your kids. You'll never get it back. And I'm also guilty of not spending enough time with them. I get wrapped up into spending time in my little jail here, I guess you could call it. Don't get me wrong, I'm at home, I'm working from home in my own comfort. It's okay. I'm not complaining. It's actually great. If anything, I'm very grateful to the life I have. But anyway, enough about me. Yonex Ezone 98. Has a VDM, a vibration dampening mesh. There you have it. All done. I've straightened up my strings, as you should too. Hopefully there's not too much moving around that you have to straighten them up too much, because that will cause tension loss. There you go, guys. 55 pounds of tension with the Yonex Tour Series 850 Pro string, multi-filament string. Also, a little tip, I always put my dampeners on the floor on top of the labels that the client fills out, because I have been notorious for losing dampeners or not returning, and it still happened to me. It happened to me last week again. And some clients can get really upset about it, because then they go to the core and they don't have a dampener, or they have to go somewhere else to buy one quickly, or whatever it is. Bit crappy, I know, but yeah, it happens again. Nobody's perfect. But I just put my shock absorber on top of the client's label. That way I can't really go wrong. But the one that I lost last week was actually, where is it? Oh dear. I don't know. It's one of the Dunlop squash ones. It's a little like mini bowl. But in any case, yeah. I think it rolled off the label. But as you can see, I had my, maybe not, you can't see exactly, but I had my shock absorber, the client shock absorber on the label, and I can't go wrong that way. Small little routines, not to mess things up. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Any advice, feedback, everything's welcome. Don't be mean. I'm a softie. No, joking. Anyway, take care. Happy stringing, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.